Mask Demaske, then. Tisk tisk. I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore. What do you mean? The victim had no proof the defendant was Mask Demaske. But you were the one who stole company's secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over with once I was fired. But it is true, the fact that I stole secrets was kept under the wraps. Even so, there was no reason for me to pay up now, a whole year later. Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data. I wonder if it would have had a problem if it ever became public knowledge. Mr. Dwight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public.
Mr. Wright! Are you trying to bully your own client?
Huh. Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. That's exactly right. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes, now come on, provide some evidence to back up your assertion. Why would Mr. Dwight want to keep his data stealing secret from going public? Because if it goes public, more people find out, and the more people find out, the bigger the possibility is. Mr. Dwight, what you said doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh? Well, what doesn't? I think you must have been very scared of having a certain person find out your secret. Certain person, yes. Miss Desire Delight, the defendant's wife. What? But listen to me, my Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Got it. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault.
What do you mean?
Mr. Dwight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about.
Wow.
Oh, everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Tessie like that, or you'll be sorry. Please die!
We asked that you refrain from threatening people to die.
I didn't! I told him to please die!
Exactly.
I never said I would do it!
Still. That is
I
considered
said
a threat.
please!
What?
I said please!
I don't think that argument holds up here.
Objection. But it's perfectly fine, right? Because he is not me. Therefore, he can do whatever he wants in court.
Good point. You're right.
Yes.
Good point, Maya. Go to jail now.
What?
You used logic!
You
know what we say about you using logic? When Maya used logic, it causes her to...
Go to jail.
Yay!
That's a very intelligent rule. And it definitely makes sense that rule exists.
That's more logic. More jail!
No, it was not logical.
I would be quiet if I were you. Or say something completely outrageous.
You are a genius, Your Honor.
That was an insult.
Yes, but it was very stupid of me to make an insult at that time, so therefore it's not logic. And
that was so unreasonable that I'm reducing your jail to nothing.
Yay! Well, that happened.
Just remember, logic is bad.
I'll remember that for next time.
Good! Wait, only your logic is bad, and everyone else's logic is fine. Because your logic is the only logic that's infallible. We hate infallible logic. Also, that we learned a great deal of things here.
What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was so possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes.
Clearly, there was much sufficient motive. He stole data for his wife and protect in his secret. A family man who cared a little too much.
The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Dwight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there dead.
I see.
Wait.
Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? Yeah. I think I know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Are you thinking what the judge is saying right now? Or something similar, I mean.
I think I know what's going on here.
Yeah. Okay.
He said that the mask struck him on the head from behind.
Of course, since Atmey turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Huh, no one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. Well, what are you saying? I really was attacked.
We'll find out what you say is true or not.
Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client.
Nope.
If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. Okay. This is... I think it's pretty obvious we need to press on this. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. Could you please clarify what you're referring to? Why am I in Mask Demaske costume, of course?
Wait a minute. Mask Demaske?
Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dress as Mask Demaske. And then I descended upon the office from the upon things.
I guess they think it sounds poetic.
It sounds kind of weird, actually. Nick,
Yes.
did you know about this? He never told me this. What else is new? But did you know this time?
Oh, wait, what else is new? All the burgers that you have eaten weren't burgers, they were chicken.
Even I didn't know that. Seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had the chance to mention it up until now. Wait, that's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind? Huh. My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. New piece of information added to the testimony.
My guy!
What?
If you interrupt me again, I am going to have to give you a card to make sure that you don't get arrested again.
I don't know.
Mr. Lightning Cheesehead.
Never. Ooh, why were you dressed up as Mask Demaske? Why? Because I'm Mask Demaske, of course.
What are you talking about? Mask Demaske trial is being held next door.
Oh, yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed for the Mask Demaske issue. So I thought I should go as him just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I expected. Wait, took a lot longer? What is he talking about?
Oh no. The murder? He didn't murder, though. Oh.
What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see. This all happened when I was,
hiding Mr. Ward's body.
Right, the judge didn't know about that part. Good.
What? What's that? Back up a second now.
Yes?
You were the one who hit the body?
Well, yeah.
In that case, then... Man. Why? Why?
Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine?
What?
The answer is simple. When they take them off. No! I don't... You wash your clothes every single time you change?
Oh my goodness.
That was good annoying.
Oh, I have to use the bathroom. Oh, time to wash my clothes. Why? Oh, I had to take a shower. It's time to wash my clothes.
You mean that Mr. Light hid the body because he's the murderer? Huh. So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor at this time was really obscure.
Yeah, it really was.
And stupid.
Very dumb.
Okay.
That's when you knew about the whole safe business.
Oh, well, yes.
Am I the only one not in the loop here?
I feel your honor. What's all this about us calling Adrian Andrews Adriana? Where did that come from? I don't know. I was kidnapped at the time.
Oh, it was just Phoenix being a dumb.
I'm I still don't know what happened.
It was simple.
I was too busy dying.
What?
I was too busy dying. Witness add that to the testimony.
What? The fact that I don't understand sarcasm?
Yes? Uh-oh. Looks
Okay.
like a storm front is moving in over the fair weather judge.
What are you saying about me?
Saying Dr. Gray would be terrified of you because of the weather thing.
Uh-oh.
Took about 10 minutes.
I can just imagine Dr. Gray, like, if he was a real person and he did die, his first thing he would do would be haunt all the weather stations.
Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? It's the record for the emergency button. If the button in the office is pressed, the security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m.
What I was saying was that if that weather guy did, like I think his first thing he would do would be haunt all the weather stations.
Yes.
What?
If Mr. Rondelay was truly the murderer, he would have run as soon as the buzzer sounded. After all, the security guard would have been heading his way. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. You probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them. But, as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than the guard being an idiot. Who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend. And wasn't anywhere in the vicinity. That was something that Mr. Delight could not have known. Again, remember who we're dealing with here. Just sure bet Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off. This buzzer is extremely loud. Trust me. I have heard it so many times. You're welcome, Nick. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is.
Conscious? What do you mean?
Fine. Let's hear your theory. Okay. Remember the attendant's testimony. The moment he entered the Big's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. He sounded like Maya for half of that theory.
Unconscious, so he fainted.
That's why Mr. Delight didn't know the buzzer sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So, what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, that can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right, whoever it was that knocked Ron Delight out and pressed the buzzer.
Order in court, Mr. Wright. This is it. It is not it. No, it. There is no
This is preposterous. It was the kid. Ron Delight was the one who killed King Bullard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer, the defendant. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button.
So, Kane, Bullard, down in the buzzer himself.
Okay.
What is your opinion? need, Mr. Wright?
I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how can I prove it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor. There's a piece of evidence that tells you that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. I don't know the buzzer itself, I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. Okay.
The emergency buzzer?
No, it's a lack of clues, Your Honor, because absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue.
Now I'm the one who's clueless.
Now, Your Honor?
Okay, Maya, you've done it now. You're never gonna get arrested again!
This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pushed the button himself, he would have left his fingerprints behind. Run to light. Obviously wiped them off. Why would he? A guard could have come at any moment. He touched that button. I know he did. The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Mask Demaske. And Mask Demaske always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have to wipe the button free of fingerprints?
Order.
It would seem. I've been forced to eat crow.
What?
I wonder what blend number crow-flavored coffee is.
666.
Sure. Okay.
He's probably there by now.
Yes.
The real question is, how does he have all the time to make all these coffee blends?
I don't know. Continue.
However, the real killer was at the scene. Why would that person... Didn't they have run away without putting themselves in any extra danger? There he goes with a smile of awkward.
It looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. Hey, on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard around 1 a.m., and Mr. Delay just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security was supposed to respond right away, the buzzer was pressed. Security was supposed to respond.
Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say.
Very well, then. Oh ho, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Well, yes, generally your opponent should be living, otherwise it's just sad. Okay. The killer knew that if they pressed the button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted.
Do you mean they call guard on purpose?
Yes. Although, as it turned out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? No, I'm not. When the buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron DeLight, who was out cold. And The third person. Yeah, that shape is definitely familiar. Thanks for giving it away, game. And the third person, the real killer. You saw that, Shadow, right?
Yeah. It was obviously Maya.
It was Maya! They did press the button because they were curious. Anyways.
Hypothetically, yeah.
I'm just going to cut the video. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guard came running in at the time, they would think I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder. And it's a good thing that that person's trial is going on right next door. Yes. It would seem... Okay, we get it. I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Or wait a second. I'm the one and only Mask Demaske, so... You mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew that he'd been called to KB security that night, so the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan, do something, yet bleh. Okay. Accusation, the one who framed Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard was Maya, obviously. Oh, I forgot, Maya's 19 in this game. Look at me. Detective, look at me. I don't mean look at me. I'm not the murderer. I mean, like, he's the only one who could have done it. The Atmey guy. It's Detective. Look at me.
The Mask Demaske it is?
Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Mask Demaske at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard.
Oh!
I will now explain myself. Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime?
Murder. It's a capital crime subject to capital punishment.
Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would.
I would not.
When Luke Atmey confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was on Mask Demaske. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along.
He was found guilty?
Mask Demaske had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lord Lee Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Mask Demaske was Luke Atmey's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi.
A guilty verdict? As an alibi? Wow. That's a new one.
You know, it's almost time for Luke Atmey's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly.
Oh no, Sir Detective Atmey, you're the one who...
That's enough! This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This trial finds the defendant Luke Atmey. Wait, don't hand down your verdict yet, please. Well, sir lawyer, welcome to my courtroom. Who is this hoser, eh? My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atmey. That man is not Mask Demaske. He's just a ruthless murderer. What? And he pressed the buzzer.
That guy's head looks like it's upside down. Nonsense.
My sis?
I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice.
So then she's still alive inside your heart.
Oh, Misty Light. Is it true that that detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have any definitive proof. Well, he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he out murdering Taylor that night?
Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Atmey want to kill that guy?
Oops! It's almost time! Ryder, back to the courtroom!
Of course it is!
You need to find some solid proof.
Nick, you don't know what you're doing, do you?
Shush, Maya!
Okay, we're going to end it here. Thanks for watching, Pharaoh!